We're here at Cody Ponce. Let's go. Welcome.
Hey-o!
Welcome. It's been a long fucking time coming. Long time coming. This story, I feel like baseball fans are going to love to hear it. I know, like, here's the thing about Cody, right? His story is amazing enough to be a standalone for like the interview, but my guy's got takes, you know, like there'll be shit happening throughout the league. He's got opinions on it, so we'll take care of the story first. But I feel like over the course of the season, like you're going to be a recurring guest now that you're back in the good old US of A, and we're going to be able to like get your opinions on current things that are happening within baseball. Like you're going to be, even though like technically you're going to be in Canada, but you're back over here for now. So let's start.
I'm on the North American continent. I'm happy about that. Let's just go that way.
Yeah, we're back in North America, which is exciting. But let's go back to like the very, very, very beginning. Okay. Getting drafted by the Brewers, second rounder. At that point in your life, or like I know that most guys feel like the trip to the big leagues, the journey to the big leagues is a difficult one. Like the 1% of the 1% of the guys that get to make it there and then stay there and have these long tenured careers in the big leagues. But what was your mindset when you were first drafted, as in like it's only a matter of time, or I hope I make it there? Like, what was your confidence level?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to go one step back even further. Out of high school, I didn't have any offers, so I was just going to go to a JUCO and go through college and figure it all out. I was 6'4", and a guy who threw 89, 90. And I had buddies on my team who were 6'2", 6 foot, that were like 93, 95, going D1 to UCLA and all these other schools. So I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to kind of figure this out. I guess, you know, baseball's not an opportunity for me. So I was blessed with a pitching coach at my D2, Cal Poly Pomona. Shout out to I chose D2ers. He gave me an opportunity and I kind of just ran with that. But getting drafted in 2015 to the Brewers, second round, I mean, nobody kind of knows where you're at, especially when you're coming from not being able to even have a starting spot as a freshman to being told, hey, you're going to be a reliever. You might throw once a week, if that, to then getting the closing job. And then halfway through the season, I'm closing Friday nights and I'm starting Sundays, and then having just like kind of just continual opportunities. And I think that kind of shows like for the rest of this podcast, when we get into the deeper part of everything, opportunities are, I think, always there. It's just trying to figure out which ones are going to be best for us. Right. So then drafted by the Brewers, was with them 15, 16, 17, 18, and half of 19, traded to Pittsburgh. Up and down with Pittsburgh 2021 and Asia for the last 4 years.
It's crazy to look at, like if you pull up your baseball reference, there's a section that says teams played for, and you have to scroll to fit every team in there.
Yeah.
Like there is a long list of teams that you've played for. We're talking like, obviously, you know, your college experience, we're talking rookie ball, we're talking single A, high A, multiple high A teams, 1, 2, 3, 4 double A teams, 1 triple A team, Arizona Fall League, making it to the big leagues with the Pirates. Here's another triple A team. We're talking going to Japan and Korea. Like, out of all the teams that you've played for, what level, what team do you think that you found yourself the most?
This last year.
Why?
Last year in South Korea.
Why?
I had fun. I think, you know, we go through this whole process of wanting to get to the big leagues, and that's our dream. So it's super serious. You got to put in the work day in and day out. And I'm not saying that's not what we need to do. But I'm also saying, like, play this game as a 12-year-old kid back in Little League where, you know, mom and dads are yelling at you from the stands and you're just trying to go out there and just play and have a blast at the same time with your buddies who you go to school with or on the other team, and you get to laugh, you get to joke around. And I had a lot of that this year. I think the organization allowed me to come out again and be myself. And in Japan, it's very strict. It's very, you know, it's very regimented. You can't do this. You have to wear this. This is the way it has to be done day in and day out. But I can't say that that was a bad thing. It allowed me to create my own regimen, figure out the day in and day out work that I need to do, the times that I need to get everything done. And then I got to Korea this last year, and it was just like, all right, I have everything. Now let me just go out and play baseball. Let me have fun. Let me laugh. Let me show a little bit of emotion. Let me actually have a sick pair of cleats on almost every other game. Like I got to customize all my cleats the first time and again, you know? So I was like, this is fun. I get to like show my character, show my love of, I'm a Star Wars nerd, show my love of Star Wars, show my love of shoes that I like and who I get from my brother-in-law, unfortunately now. But like, just like the little things that allowed me to like be able to put a smile on my face, show up at the ballpark and wanting to be there.
So talk to me about the turning point, you know, like when you're going from, you know, the minor leagues, getting a taste of the big leagues, and then the opportunity comes up where it's like, you can continue I don't even know, like, do you have the opportunity to continue your baseball career in the United States, or was it like, this is what's best if you go to Japan? Like that decision, who was guiding you? What kind of research did you do, and what really were your options at the time?
Right. Dallas, what were you going to say as well?
Well, I was just going to ask, kind of coming off of your answer there, is when were things not fun? Because you can be successful and you can be putting up numbers and you cannot be having fun. Right. You can go out and be getting your ass kicked, but be working through some things and know that you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And even though you're rocking a double-digit ERA, you feel like, you know what? I think I'm close. I'm getting there. And that can still be fun. So when did it become not fun for the first time and you realized, you know what? Some things have to change.
So I'm going to roll into that from Jared, right?
Sure.
So the opportunity, I was a single man. I didn't have any family at the time, no girlfriend, nothing. And I was like, well, I'm either going to get DFA'd from Pittsburgh, which was kind of like what we were kind of hearing at the time, or you can go make $1 million and put some money in your bank and be able to set up your future, right? So it wasn't so much of like, I'm going to go make $1 million, like that's what I want. It was more so like, how can I set up my future if baseball is really going to be over for me in the next year or two? What can I do? And also at that point, where I was trying to go through all the stuff, like you were saying, Dallas, of like, I'm like right there, like I'm having fun, but there's some things that are just not clicking yet. And I got to Japan, and that was where things were clicking a little bit more. I was coming off of a recent like discomfort that I was dealing with in 2016. And then just degressed in my career with like velo stuff wise. And then 2019, took like 3 years to kind of like find myself again. I learned I wasn't a fireballer, as everybody says. I didn't throw hard. I wasn't a thrower. I learned how to pitch. I went from sitting 93 to 96 to now then sitting 89 to 91. Nothing against the 89 to 91, but when you're used to going out there and blowing doors past people at 96, 97, when you can touch it, it's like, oh no, I have to revamp myself.
There's something against it, right? Yeah.
Right. There's a little bit like, yes, I don't even really know how to get into it, but like there's a little bit of it. Kyle Hendricks pitches his ass off.
Masterful.
Right? He dots everything up. He's throwing backdoor sinkers. He's throwing front door changeups. He does everything, and he hits spots. He pitches. And then you got guys who are just going out there and just blowing doors, and you're a thrower. So going from both opposite ends and having to figure that out, and then getting the opportunity when I went to Japan to then have the consistent opportunities of being a starter again and trying to figure that kind of stuff out, and kind of seeing my velo go up a little bit, 91, 93, 92, 94, kind of playing with those little numbers. And that's where I kind of lost a little bit of the fun, because you get into this culture that I'm blessed to have been able to be a part of. I don't want to be mean about that, because I was blessed to be a part of it. And I got into this culture that I was just thrown into. I was in complete shock, right? To where like, I was like, this is get out there every day at 1:00 for a stretch, do miles of running, do all of these extra stuff. And I was like, this isn't fun. This doesn't feel like baseball. I'm not shagging balls. I'm not enjoying conversations with people because I didn't have that. I went out there during COVID times. I met my wife at the time. She wasn't allowed to be out there. Nobody was coming out. I was stuck in an apartment alone. And when you're going through the double-digit ERAs by yourself in an apartment in a foreign country, and your parents and my dad wasn't even able to talk to except for maybe 2 hours a day when I was going to bed at 1 a.m. just so I can talk to him. I was like going through some of the darkest days of my career.
Sure.
I got to hop in there because I was talking to Jared beforehand, and I think it's so impressive when players take the plunge and go to, as you just laid out, like a completely foreign situation to continue their passion and to try and make it work. Put the baseball stuff aside, which you started to get into. What was one of the day-to-day, minute-to-minute challenges when you first arrived there and you're like, because you talked culture change, like what was the thing where you're like, I don't even know how to approach this, or it caught you off guard, or just like the stuff that you need to do to be able to even play baseball or to get to the field?
It was off the field stuff. Yeah. It was taking a train in 30 minutes a day on a train with, and I didn't train ever. I just hopped in my truck, picked up the boys. Like that was something that I was missing, the camaraderie part of it. And then also like treatment wise, like being able to be like, hey, I'm a little tight here today. I threw 115 yesterday and I'm just hanging. Like I'm just tired. And it's like, can you get in there? Can you throw some needles? Can you do this? Can you get some treatment? Coming from America of being like, hey, everybody's an AT. Everybody can do this. We can get that. We can reset your subs cap, get your posture right. And now I can't be able to have those kind of conversations with the trainers as good as I want to and be able to get everything that I needed. So that was, I would say, the biggest setback as I then in later years, learned how to be able to communicate what I needed, ask for extra help, go outside the ball team to get certain treatments done, figure it out. So that way my body was ready to go in Japan, it was every 7 days.
And then by the time you get to Korea, this past season, your age 31 season, you essentially just enter God mode. Like the numbers here. So like I'm friends with Casey Kelly. So like I know like I'll casually watch some like the Korean baseball, and for you to go 17-1 in 29 starts with a sub-2, it's a 1.89, 180 2/3 innings. And you punched out 252 batters, and bring home all kinds of crazy hardware. Like you were a god there. You were a king in Korea, and you take that season and you turn that into 3 years, $30 million with the Toronto Blue Jays. First of all, congratulations. Like I saw that, I immediately fucking reached out. I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, let's go. But I want to know like how many teams came calling? What were teams' pitches to you? Like, it's like, hey, like we've scouted, we've seen video. Like we think we can do this with you if you sign with us. Like how competitive was it for your services in the big leagues, and how rewarding was it to have teams vying for your services after the journey that you've been on, and how validating that must be?
Well, I'll rewind to the 252 because my boy's also your boy. And I got a phone call from Mr. Garrett Crochet, and he says, hey, don't worry. I'll hold those 3 strikeouts over your head for the rest of your life. And I said, Garrett, I'm going to go on this podcast. I'm going to make sure everybody knows that you threw more innings than I did, and I had 3 less strikeouts than you did.
Atta baby. Atta baby.
Sure that everybody in the world knows your 255 and my 252 might have been in different leagues, but you had a couple more innings than I did, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same.
It's true.
Not the same, but same,
Oh, absolutely.
And let's just talk about Garrett Crochet here for a second. What an absolute unit of a human being.
Beast.
I look like a normal person next to him. And I just gave him a hug the other day and I was like, God, I forgot how big you are. Like I'm 6'6" and I look up to him. I'm like, dude, you make me look up about an inch. And I was like, this isn't how this is supposed to go. I'm supposed to be, I'm right here, you know?
Right.
But no, thank you for my flowers on everything for this year.
No doubt.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, the process was pretty crazy. It felt like I was back in 2015 again, going through the draft process of, hey, this is where we think you're going to go. This is what we want to do with you. This is kind of how it is. Most teams who did come calling were like, we don't really want to change anything. You know, we want to kind of keep you who you are and allow you to be Cody Ponce. And just like, that was really great. I think at the end of the day, it just kind of came down to who came calling, and the Blue Jays were like, this is what we're going to do for you. And I was like, never in my mind and wildest dreams ever thought that. Now, shout out to my wife, Emma. Halfway through the season, she goes, we're going to sign a 3-year, $30 million deal. I'm putting that out there. I'm manifesting that. And I was like, all right, let's just time out here. Eric Fetty signed a 2 for 15. We don't know where we've been. Eric Fetty had 4 years, and I like look up to Eric Fetty for what he did in the KBO as well. Like he had an incredible career here as well. And I was like, babe, time out. He has a few more years in the show than I do. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And I was like, we can manifest that. I will let you do whatever you want to do. Manifest it all. I love it. Keep it going. But I like that our beam is set so high, and that's what we're going for. And throughout most of the year, I told my agent, I was like, listen, don't tell me offers. Don't tell me who's calling. Let me just play baseball right now. Don't tell me
Love
about
that.
Hanwha. Don't tell me if they want to do an early offer. Don't tell me anything. I want to finish the season. I want to get to the Korean Series. I want to win the Korean Series. Except for LG decided to sweep it underneath our feet. And I was like, that was my only goal. I just wanted to play baseball. I didn't really worry about what was off the field until November hit. And then I was like, okay, what does Hanwha have? What do we need to do? How do we go about this? What's the right way? I'm technically still part of the Hanwha organization, so we couldn't do really many conversations when it came to it. And then the Blue Jays just came in and hit the manifesting number, and my wife looked at me, and I was like, I called her. I didn't call her. I ran home. I was walking my dog when I got a phone call from my agent. He's like, this is the number. I was like, let me call you right back. I have to run home. I'm a half mile away right now. And I just hung up the phone, ran home. My wife's like, you're not supposed to be back yet. And I was like, I know, I have to poop. Right? So like I didn't like give her this big thing, and my mother-in-law's in the room. But I was like, hold on, David has to tell you something. And he's like, hey, the Blue Jays offered 3 for 30. My wife's jaw just dropped. She's holding her new baby girl, you know, like everything in the world, just like it all came right there for us. And he's like, what do you think? And I was like, that was our number. Like, there's no point to go like try to like get more or do anything else, right? It was like, I get to be part of this organization who just went to the World Series, who was literally one pitch short. One pitch. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of this organization. And I did some phone calls. I called people around, and one of my buddies said that the guy that he knew was like, dude, Toronto, hands down, best family, best team, best organization. He's like, I had the best time when I was with them. So I was like, that also kind of put something, especially now having a daughter, into perspective of, I want my family to be taken care of.
That's so awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on joining the girl dad ranks.
That's right, guys. That's right.
That's atta baby. Atta baby. Atta baby. Bro, like
in Korea,
you're like,
girls are good luck. Your first daughter is considered good luck. So my entire season wasn't just my performance. I was also saying, like, I have my good luck charm. My wife is carrying our good luck charm right now. Now, my daughter was 2 weeks late on the dot. She decided to wait till the end of the Korean Series and everything was passed, which was
great timing.
Which was, yes. But when your daughter's supposed to be born in the beginning of the Korean Series, you're on edge for everything. And I was just waiting for a phone call in the dugout saying, hey, you got to go. Right. And I was like, whether I was in the first inning or the fifth inning, I was like, I'm hanging up the phone. love you guys. You guys are the best, but I'm not missing my daughter's birth. Like that's not the thing. So
no, dude, I got to tell you right now, just hearing from your wife's manifestation to walking your dog, because you're probably finding headspace alone in that time right there by yourself. You know, you're just kind of mulling over things, realizing what sort of incredible situation you have put yourself in. And I know how much of a sacrifice and a team effort it is on the other side. Your wife, just as much of an important part of you guys being able to achieve what you've achieved on the field. She's got to be there holding it down away from the field. And then to have the birth of your daughter looming, you know that's coming. There's so many different emotions I know that are going through your mind that you're feeling. And to have that magic number hit and to hear you say, look, I don't need anything else. Like we don't need to have another conversation, man. For me, what that does, Cody, and I genuinely mean this, man, you have within a matter of 3 minutes skyrocketed towards the top of my list of people who I am going to continue to pull for because of how I think real you are about your situation. And it doesn't feel like there's a sense of greed or a sense of desire to have more than maybe you want or more than you deserve in the moment. You have gone out there and you have earned every bit of what has now come your way. And I think you should take some time to appreciate that. Because I always jokingly say, you know, good things happen to good people. And I think that's very true. And for what you have experienced, I think that speaks volumes for that statement. Good things happen to good people. And there's no way that you can look at the manifestation, the performance on the mound, and having that moment all come to fruition and think that this could have happened to anybody else other than you, man. So enjoy that. What I wanted to ask is going through the process of, oh, dude, come on, man. Like it gave me goosebumps when I'm hearing you talk about that, because I know what it's like to have a number put in front of you, however big or however small it might be. And you have that realization like, fuck, man. Like, I think my grandma's going to be okay from here on out. Like, it's not a ton of money, but I know how I live my life, and I think we're going to be okay from here on out. And that's it's a job well done. It makes you feel really good about the work you've put in and the work that you and your family have put in together. But it's not without having to clear hurdles. And when you find yourself kind of toiling and trying to figure shit out, whether it's in the starting rotation in the lower leagues, in the minor leagues, and then you find yourself coming out of the bullpen at times, like what was the moment or what was the conversation you were having with yourself where you realized, all right, look, I've got to make something happen. We're going to transition from pursuing this game from a reliever side. I know I can start ball games. I know I can get consistent outs at length. Here's what I got to do.
Yeah. That just comes for, and I think that's the hardest part about baseball, especially being in the big leagues and being a guy who has done both roles, a guy who can be a starter, a guy who can be a reliever. So getting the phone call getting called up and, hey, we're going to use you out of the pen. Great. Okay. Have my opportunity to come out of the pen, second inning for a long relief, show that I can do the distance stuff. Hey, thank you for your 4 innings. We're going to send you down for 10 days, call you back up, see what we need. All right, well, you're going to be a starter. So having the inconsistency of what you're doing for going on 2 years of trying to figure out the routine of a reliever standpoint. And with Pittsburgh, I had some of the best guys. They were like, hey, you just need to figure out your routine. You need to figure out what you need to do to be warm and ready to go from the 4th through the 5th, because those are your 4 innings, But once the 5th hits, it's, later inning guys that you don't have to worry about the back end. So figuring out that routine and being able to take a reliever's routine, shut that down, get sent back down to the minors, turn back on a starter's routine and figure that all out was a lot of juggling, and a lot of work that I had to put in, not just physically, but mentally, of how do I turn into a mofo when I'm coming out of the pen, but how do I turn into a consistent. And I'm, like I said, I'm a Star Wars nerd. How do I stay where Anakin is, where he's going from the Jedi to the dark side? How do I stay in that balance of having the hope and having anger in my body to be a starter for the long time, and not just being Darth Vader coming out of the bullpen, where it's like, I'm here to kill everybody, but how do I stay on this path? How do I keep those 2 different alter egos at bay, right? So when I had the opportunity to go to Japan, of just being able to say, hey, I could be Anakin right now. I can be the Jedi when I'm sitting on the bench. And then I can go to my transfer when I cross that white line of being, I'm going to the dark side now. How do I, and then now I'm starting to learn that. And then having those 2 years with Sapporo, figuring that out, I had one incredible game, and will forever be on my hang up on my, call it, hang it in the loo, like I have that plaque. I have that everything taken care of now, but being able to see success start happening, whether I had a 4 ERA or a 1 ERA at the time, and seeing the fluctuation, but knowing I was getting consistent every 7th day. In Japan, it was every 7th. And being able to have that for not just 1 year, not just 2 years, but 3 years. And my 3rd year was pretty rough when I was with Rakuten. I think I had like an 8 ERA for like the first month, and I had like 40 innings or 50 innings on the year. And they said, we're just going to send you down. And then it was like another mental thing. Well, I don't want to be in the minor leagues. I'm having success in the minor leagues. I'm punching out 12 in 6 innings in the minor leagues. Like, what else do you guys need to see? And then you get called up, and it's like, hey, we're going to throw you here, but we're going to send you down tonight. And it's like, then I got back into the wave of being up and down. And then that's the mental side. And, my wife is with me at the time, making sure she's taken care of. Just so much, everything compacted. And then I got to Korea, and they say, there's no minor leagues for you. We're going to ride you till you die. You're going to throw 115 pitches a game. You're going to go every 6 days and sometimes every 5th day. I was like, hell yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Ready. Put me on the bump. Let's ride. Like, you're going to tell me I'm going to get these opportunities no matter what happens. It just fuels me and gives me a little bit more confidence,
God,
and then when you're doing the up and downs, right? You lose that confidence when they send you down, even though you shouldn't. You shouldn't lose that confidence when you get sent down. You should say, okay, well, when you send me down, what do you need me to work on? What do you need me to make sure I can? And it's not so much of overhauling or changing things. It's like, hey, we just need you to be able to locate that fastball up and away to lefties a little bit better. So every time you face a lefty, don't change anything. Just try to hit that up and away. Cool. That is what I think is such a big difference changer of now, if something was to happen, hey, let's tweak a few things. Let's not change anything. We're just going to say, we're going to refine that heater. We're going to refine that slider. We're going to get that changeup a little bit better. That's where I think is the biggest change out of all of this.
Man, I do this show, or a separate segment, if you will, called Slab Lab. And I've had Garrett Crochet, the absolute man-child, on there. And I've broken things down with him.
Hendricks.
Yeah, and Kyle Hendricks, Tarek Skubal, Mason Miller. Like, I've had some dudes. I would absolutely love to have you on to dive into some of these things on a more just pitching-centric basis, because I think the conversation is so interesting about the adjustments that we have to make, not only mentally on the field, coming from different roles. You find yourself in a foreign country. Now I'm in the minor leagues in a foreign country. Like, what is that like? Like, that's like you talked about, that can be an ego hit. That could be a mental hurdle that you have to clear. As far as the actual gameplay, what was something that took you by surprise when you first arrived and you're like, okay, shit, this is different. This is a little funky maybe, or you know what, man, this is something I think I can adjust to quickly.
Yeah. So the hardest part of the adjustment was in Japan. They play, it's a little different than American baseball, and Korea is a little bit more American baseball. And American baseball is like more so swings wise. Mm-hmm. So Japan, their swings are going to get you. They're going to get jammed on the cutter up and in, and they're going to flare it over the second baseman. And everybody in the dugout's going to be like, you just hit a home run. They're going to give you 12 pitch at bats. They're not going to punch out. They don't want to strike out. And I actually did some study and did some deep dive on it. They swing how samurais used to swing their samurai swords. So what they do is they load onto their back leg, and then as samurais, they would land on their front leg. But as they're landing, they still have the ability to adjust their sword. So if somebody's sword's coming from a higher and then all of a sudden it's coming lower, they can adjust. Whereas in Korea, they had a little bit of that, but they were trying to do damage. They were trying to put balls in gaps. They were trying to hit homers. And that was the biggest adjustment between the two. So going to Japan, I didn't really have the changeup that I have now. I had a good curveball, but I didn't use it. I was trying to do like how I did in the States of like tunneling. And for them, it's not so much of a tunneling purpose because they're just going to slap a ball away. They're just going to like fight everything off. And I could have used my curveball more as a strikeout pitch. And I was just I was still kind of pitching when I was there. And then I got to Korea and I figured out a changeup, but that's a whole different story.
What's the story?
Last offseason, I was lifting with Jordan Montgomery and Garrett Crochet and a few other guys. Clay Holmes were all over here in Nashville. And
are you kicking it?
So I have a weird kick change. If you look at a video, it was more splitty.
Okay.
I've actually thrown a kick change at 600.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's we're talking Roki territory.
Yes. So I saw a video. Don't know exactly where I saw it. Could have been on Twitter, could have been on Instagram. And they're like, oh yeah, this is how you hold a kick change. Like, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, let me just figure this out tomorrow when I pick up baseball. And I have pretty big hands. Like I'm a big boy.
Yeah. You're not a small fella.
I'm a big boy.
Grabbed a baseball, threw it, started at, I forgot I was playing with, started at somebody's head, finished at a belt buckle. And they're like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, I just threw it. I just didn't know what I was doing. And just repetition. And then I was just like, well, I guess I got a splitter or a changeup now. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to rip the hell out of this and see what happens. And that just became the biggest separator, right? When I have a changeup that's anywhere from 85 to 90 and my heater is playing at 95 and it's bottoming out with 1 to 2 vert and 7 horizontal, it's just there and then it's gone.
It becomes a 2-plane wipeout. Like,
yeah. And then you have a curveball that can set up a heater up top and then you have to respect both parts of the zones. And it's just, yeah, that was my biggest separator from Japan to Korea, was just learning how to throw a split change or kick change. Everybody calls it whatever they want. I just call it the Ponce change.
The Ponce change.
Everybody was like, how do I throw it? And I was like, let me see your hands. And everybody's hands go to like here on me. And I'm like, yeah, we have a little bit different size. Like my finger's literally sitting on top of this baseball like this. And most people are like out a little bit more moving. And I was like, I'm literally just sitting on top and just ripping it as hard as I can down. Just say, screw it. If it cuts, if it goes, as long as it goes down, I don't care.
That's amazing. I wonder what like savant will recognize it as.
Let Pitching Ninja decide the name for it, I guess, right? That's what everybody else did for all their pitches.
Pretty much.
Why leave it up to them? The Ponce change, I think, works. I think it should be labeled as the Ponce.
The Ponce punchy, absolutely.
Just got ponced out. That's unbelievable. I mean, anytime that you can have a pitch added to your arsenal that makes that much of a difference, you literally can't teach that. Like if you have guys coming to you being like, yeah, like let's see the pitch grips, like your hands aren't big enough to throw this. You're not tall enough to ride this ride, son.
For JTN in 2026, we need to get Jeremy in the works for a Ponce out sound. Yeah, whenever he makes somebody look like an asshole with that changeup, we play it.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Ponce party for your first start. That'll be the first night that we stream. Yeah.
Absolutely. Ian, I want to ask you, I mean, what I find very interesting, and this is stuff that I would love to, again, talk to you about in the Slab Lab, but who led you down the path of studying swings or trying to understand what you were seeing that was different than what you had experienced stateside? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. I pitched against the Yomiuri Giants when we were over in Japan in 2008, and I felt the same thing you did. Like you can just and I saw the same thing you did, which is these dudes they care about putting the baseball in play, and there's a completely different approach. And you can understand when guys might be front foot hitters, but do a good job of keeping their hands back. And I think you have to be sort of led to water to an extent so you understand what you're drinking. So who or how did you get led down the path of trying to study a swing to the extent where you find yourself looking up Sadahara O and the rest of these guys who are swinging samurai swords in the offseason?
I have a samurai. I got it because I was in Japan, right? And I was I learned about Japanese history because of baseball, and I wanted to learn all of that. I think it really started like in 2019, 2020 is like when pitching became data-based, right? And I was like so used to like, hey, how does that look? How does that play? And I wasn't really part of that crew that was in college being able to see everything as they're coming into pro ball and knowing, hey, I'm gonna look at TrackMan, I'm gonna look at Rapsodo. And like, I didn't read any of that. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know how to read it. And then this last year, I kind of dove into it a little bit more. And then this year when I was with, I'm going to get to the swings, but this year when I was with our team in Hanwha, I had a great relationship with our analytical department. And one of the guys spoke great English. So I would go to him once a month and say, hey, what are you seeing? What's going on? Why is my changeup a little too much vert and just kind of popping out? Why is my fastball flattening out? Just, I'm losing 1 or 2 inches. Like, what's going on? And he'd come back to me. He's like, give me like 3 or 4 hours. I'll figure it out. So I'd come back to me before the game starts. He's like, let's sit down, have a conversation. Great. Sat down. He goes, halfway through the year, arm angle's 2 inches up. We need to get you back down here. Everything will play out again. Cool. I'm going into game 5 start in the playoffs to go to the Korean series. My analytic department comes up to me and says, you need to come set different. You're tipping your heater and your curveball. And I'm like, and we're talking like I'm going through my pre-game routine, just finished putting pants on. Like,
oh my God.
30 minutes from walking outside to start playing catch. And I was like, I trust you guys. Tell me what you want. I'll get it done. They're like, we just need you to come set like this. And we need you to come set with your hand in. And I was like, done. And it was a massive difference because they're like, you're tipping everything. You're tipping your changeup, but they can tell if it's going to be a heater or an off speed. And I was like, done. If that's what's going to make a difference. Went out there and I think I gave up. I don't even remember that. The only thing I remember was taking a ball that was about 105 right off my chest from Juan Diaz. I was like, Diaz, brother, that one hurt. And and in Asia they use cold spray. We call it the cure of cancer in Asia. And they looked at me. My trainer runs out. He's like, cold spray. And I was like, no, man, brother, I'm not running it. I did one of these. I threw a couple balls and I said, let's ride. But like, I can't let the analytical side of development of me get away from this, right? Then we get into the reading of the swings. That started my third year of Japan. And I was like, really took interest in watching video, seeing how everybody swung, seeing holes. Because I wasn't really, and I could be wrong, but I don't remember getting heat maps in Japan. We would just sit down and talk about how we wanted to approach hitters. So for me, I was just taking notes on what everybody else was throwing against everybody, watching video, night before, 2 nights before, okay, sliders here, changeups here. Got to Korea. They said, here's your heat maps. And they give it to me like 3 days before. Now I'd sit there on bus rides for 3 hours, 4 hours, and I'd just watch 4 or 5 pitchers' games over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, you didn't beat him here with the slider, but if you would have thrown a slider backdoor rather than at the back foot of a lefty, that swing is now pulling off because you set him up with the up and in heater. And it just opened my mind and opened the way when I stepped on a mound. I was replaying everything in my head. I had all the heat maps ingrained into my head. I had them sitting on the bench, kind of like how you see Yamamoto taking notes during. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm sitting there night before scouting against whoever we had pitching. I was like, okay, well, he's swung at a 2-0 changeup in the dirt. 2-0 changeup's good as long as they're set up this way, right? And I was doing my homework time went from 30 minutes before a ball game to 3 days of a video before a ball game, to where now I was like understanding how to set guys up. And I was watching not just this year, but years before, trying to figure out, all right, here's a foreign pitcher. Cause like you can only watch certain domestic Koreans who throw 90 plus, 93 plus. And I was like, okay, here's my videos. I have 6 games I want to watch. I'm going to watch all these 6 games on this next 5 hours of bus ride. And I'm going to have my notes with me. I'm just taking notes. All right. He likes to pull off early 0-1s and then he stays on them late 0-2. And then if he's ahead early, he's just looking for something up and in. So like having those notes, then I had a blessing of having two catchers who have combined over 40 years of service time in the KBO. For the first
That helps.
For the first 20 games of the year, I never called a single pitch.
Yep.
And when I did shake, he was pissed because I would flip a curveball because I was like, oh, I want this curveball. I'm going to bury this. And I'd flip it and it'd be like up here and he'd have to like reach up and jump for it. And he'd throw a ball right back at me. And I was just saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My bad.
Sorry. I'm sorry. And like, but that created a relationship with my catcher. We would sit down and if he wasn't playing the night before, I'd be like, hey, come sit next to me. We're going to scout 4th through the 6th. We're going to go through the entire lineup. Tell me what you're thinking. I'll write it in my notes. That way, next day, I read over everything. Great. Leave it on the bench. Let's go play baseball.
Yeah, we're going to be, I'm going to lay out because I'm just going to turn this into a Slab Lab conversation. And I don't know that everybody needs that, but you and me, my friend, we are going to be locking in and we are going to be taking a dive here because I can talk this kind of stuff with you all goddamn day and night. Like, I got shit to do after this and I would just completely cancel the schedule and have this conversation with you all day. So I'm going to lay out because I got a ton of different ways we could go. I find it very interesting how guys start to evolve and what are the things that lead you to understand what I always refer to as the self component and the opponent component and how you go about separating the two and how you go about identifying the two and the mechanics of going through those things. But I mean, I think it's clear that you're somebody who's not just out there trying to now outstuff your opponent. You have a really good idea of what you do well. You have understood how to attack guys and identify what they do well and how to marry those two. And we're talking about, now we're overlaying maps, right? What you do well, what they don't, where we can go, where our breath for air is. So it's very revealing to see that you're somebody that's not just out there just chucking and ducking and chucking and praying. There's a fucking game plan here.
Yeah. Come up from Boston's spring training. Come up to Dunedin. We can sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
Done deal.
We can just do the house or wherever. We can all just shoot the shit and have a nice dinner. Maybe grill some steaks up.
Oh,
done.
Yeah.
Jared can't cook. Jared can't even boil water for the pasta. He'll just be there. But yes, absolutely.
Beers, dude. Bring the beer.
I'll bring the beers. I'll bring the beers, and Dallas can be on the 1s and 2s on the grill. I'm a vibes guy. Like I'm just there to make sure that everyone's having a good time. That's really what it's all about.
I feel like Justin's more of the vibes guy. Jared, you just bring the energy.
Yeah.
You bring the fun and the energy. Justin's gonna be like, all right, boys. Let's just hang out here for a minute.
He's the logistics guy. He's the one that makes sure that we get the best steaks where they're coming from. He makes sure that like all the beers are accounted for and this and that.
I was going to say, Jared referred to himself as the money guy the other day, so I'm going to make sure we get that A5 Japanese Wagyu, that's what we're going to be putting on the,
Make sure it's from Miyazaki, Japan, too. I don't want to...
No, none of the fake shit. None of the fake shit.
Yeah, none of that. None of this mainland bullshit, Jared.
Right. Done. Say less. Say less. I'm in.
Corn dogs, Jackie. Corn dogs.
So you won the KBO equivalent of the Cy Young and the MVP. Like you're up there just like, where are the awards at? I know that they have my name on it. When you're, I guess, pitching your way through a season where it is Cy Young and MVP worthy, is any point of your mind drifting towards like, we did it, like we're going back home, like this is our ticket back home? Or are you just kind of like going through it, being like, I just want to finish the job and we'll see what happens?
I wanted a Korean series. I wanted a ring. I think like, and I tell this to so many people, right? Like the individual stuff is great. I'm very blessed to have been able to do that, been able to stay healthy for the whole year. That's a whole different conversation. Blessed by my wife and all of her family too have helped me learn how to stay healthy, how to make sure my body's prepped and good. But hands down goes to my wife for making sure I wake up, eat, take care of my body, making sure that I'm good before she takes care of herself. She puts me first and then she takes care of herself. So off season, wife's first, then I take care of myself. That's how, and all ball players know that. Off season comes, wife wants to go to dinner, we're going to dinner.
We're going.
Yeah.
There ain't no plans. You had plans to go golfing, brother. Those out the window. You call your
Gone.
boys and say, wife wants to go to dinner. There, and everybody knows wife's going to dinner. So,
Mhm.
I it's hard. It's hard for me, because I had and still have a legend as a friend now. When you have Hyun-jin Ryu, the Korean monster, as your teammate, standing next to him in a dugout, and no matter what day it is, I'm still in awe. Like, there was this level of not idolizing, but like respect of somebody who did it in the big leagues for 10 years. And also doing what he did in Korea before that, and now coming back to play for the same team. And the way he walks around Korea and goes through everything, I watched it. I watched it in detail, how he interacted with fans, how he took care of everybody. It's like all my awards were great, but like what this man has done will never be compared to any of that, right? And what I wanted to do was bring a championship home, not just for me, but for him as he's, on his final years. And I was like, if I can come in here, bring this organization to a championship and win it, I was like, my individual awards mean nothing to me at that point. Because for me, I grew up a family man. I talked to my dad every day from anywhere from 1 minute to 4 hours, just driving and talking window time. So the family that I created with that team, going to Australia and starting spring training, to then Japan and then getting there, they welcomed me in to where it was like, the individual stats are great. I did that myself for pitching, but none of those would have been done without the offense, without the defense. I mean, I got saved 1 against the Bears, 2 against LG, 3 against the Bears, probably 3 to 5 games. I gave up like 4 or 5 runs. My batters came in and scored 6 or 7 on the back end of my start. Saved me from getting my first loss. Saved that from opening day to game 21, I think, 17 consecutive wins. And I could not have done that myself. I'm not going out there throwing shutout games, complete games the entire time. So those individual stats aren't just mine. They're every defensive play, every offensive hit, every home run that was scored, every high five that was given in the dugout during games, during my starts, during everybody else's starts. That is where all those individual awards come to and are because of.
Yeah, I don't give a shit if you're dicing up 6-year-olds in a T-ball league, 17-1. You talking about logging your first loss? Just un. I know this is Korea and Japan, but that's Spanish for one. One fucking loss. 17-1 is utterly ridiculous to think about going out and dialing that up to a point where you're like, we know what's going to happen today, boys. I'm going to go out and I'm going to shove you guys. If should I fall short for whatever reason, you guys are going to be there to bang and pick us up. This is a complete and total team effort. And once again, I really genuinely appreciate your acknowledgement of everybody and everything that goes into a season like that, because you are at a certain point in time, it just kind of becomes like cruise control. You go out and you compete and you almost know what to expect from yourself. And it becomes fun watching what the other guys are going to do on top of what you know, or you hope that you're going to be able to bring to the table. What is a moment outside of the accolades, outside of being just that unfortunate, one game away, one pitch away from winning it all? What is a moment that you are going to take away and hold with you for the rest of your life, whether it be a learning moment, a moment in awe as a spectator, or something that you did while performing? What will be something that you take away for eternity?
All right, Dallas, I don't want you to cry with me, okay? So I need you to stay strong.
All right.
I lost my mom in 2017, or 2017 to stage 4 brain cancer. Okay. During my 18K game, there was a moment when I was facing somebody where a white butterfly flew past me. And during that moment, I struck out the 17th batter. That tied Hyun-jin Ryu's 17th strikeout, the most in a single season game in 9 innings in Korean history. Now, in Korean lore, in Korean belief, a white butterfly is a sign of your ancestors being there with you in the moment. Now, for me, there was this feeling the entire game of a hug on my body, a feeling of weightlessness, a feeling of just utter ease. And as you know, when you step on a bump, there's those times during the game where you're edgy, you don't know what's going on. I had a no-hitter going through 8 innings. I had 17 strikeouts, and I was like, wow, I'm going to do one of these two things right now. Baseball gods are either going to give me 17 or 18 Ks, or I'm going to throw a no-hitter, and I'm going to be able to put another number on the back of my neck and say I threw another no-hitter. So I've thrown one in Japan, and then I'll be able to throw one in Korea. So that white butterfly flew across on the 17th K. That white butterfly stayed around the entire mound for the next batter to get the 18th K and set the single season highest strikeouts in a single game in Korean history. Now, after the game, everybody asked me and talked to me, what were you feeling? What was going on? And after the 17th K, let me rewind. After the 17th K, I stepped off the mound. I had a large bow to Ryu. And after I did that, I just emotionally started crying. Like I felt my mom. My mom was there. My mom was in my arms. She was on my back. She was standing on my shoulders. She was just there. And it took me a minute to get resettled. So if you ever see the video, you'll see I'm wiping tears away. And it wasn't for tying the record, is because I felt my mom with me, you know? So that moment, not the moment of getting the 18, it was a moment of tying. It was a moment of feeling my mother with me, which I always know she is. It was that moment of baseball history for me that will forever be remembered.
I don't know how you could ever top that.
You don't?
Yeah, you do. You throw a no-hitter on Mother's Day.
Perfect game.
Perfect game. Wake up. Perfect game. My bad. Dallas.
No. You save that shit, my man. You save that shit. That is, fuck, man. Yeah. Damn, dude.
Yeah. So the heaviness that when people are like, when I see your video of the perfect game, not a no-hitter, everybody. Even though technically it was part of it.
Technically it was.
Yeah. I get emotional. When I saw the highlight of it again, I got emotional because I knew the emotions that you were going through. I knew the things that you felt, right? I knew what it feels like, and I hope nobody ever does, and I know people will in their lives, but to lose a mother at an early age, right? There's a grief that stays with you every single day. There's a love that will never be filled, but there is something that nobody else will ever have. And it is a hug on your back at the moment that you least expect it, that you'll never have at any other time in your life, because you know they're with you and you know they're right here on your shoulder. For you, the left one, for me, the right one. And that's like the beauty of it, you know? So yeah, that was my moment. Those are the moments. So when people ask me, what's your favorite game? I say my 18 Ks. And it's not because I did the 18 Ks. It was because my mom was with me.
There's no denying that, dude. There's no denying that. My God. Wow. Damn. Yep.
Sorry, brother.
Don't be sorry, man. Don't be sorry.
Like,
Fuck, are you kidding me, dude?
Podcast now, everybody.
No, dude. That's hey. It's fuck it. It's okay to cry, man. Sometimes there is crying in baseball, and I couldn't. Yeah, I do. I know what that's like, but I can only imagine how cool that felt for you and how cool that felt for your family, especially with the respect that you have shown the cultures that you've been able to be a part of. The fact that you weren't somebody who just went over there and just strapped it on and sort of took advantage of the opportunities that were presented to you. There's a difference between playing the game and being a part of a culture and playing the game and embracing what it has to offer you. And Cody, good things happen to good people, my friend.
Thank you.
And that's a very fine example of that.
Thank you.
You want a hot tub time machine it?
Yeah, you should answer that.
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
All right, Cody. We're going to go back in a standard time machine, just a regular ass time machine that has normal functions. But you can go back in time to any moment in baseball history.
Hot tub time machines are cool too.
You get to watch this game, this moment live in person. You're not playing. You're just there. You're just watching it. Best seat in the house, whatever seat you want. What moment in baseball history are you picking?
Eric Gagne versus Barry Bonds.
Ooh, okay. I like that one.
Any matchup they ever had. Specifically the one, unfortunately, that was in San Francisco. But yes, Eric Gagne, an absolute fucking madman against, I'll say it, a future Hall of Famer.
I hope so. We love Barry here.
Oh, yeah. We are a massive Barry friendly podcast.
But those two dogs, right? Those were dogs. And when you saw Gagne come on and strap on his glasses, stepped on that bump, you knew you were seeing 98. And the way he stepped on that bump and didn't pitch around Barry every time they saw each other, he's like, I'm coming. I am here and I'm going to give it to you. And Barry said, thank you.
Come on with it.
Well, that at bat that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure that they had like an agreement that Gagne
no changeup.
could only throw him one off-speed pitch. So after he threw it, Barry knew he was only getting heaters from that point forward. So that's why he fucking smoked one. It was like 101. Yeah, he knew it was going to be a heater.
Foul.
Yeah, come on. Just give me a little pool ball and I'll be all right. But no, that would be seeing them go. And then obviously growing up, with Derek Jeter as captain and being able to sit right behind the dugout, right behind the on-deck circle and hear that call again.
Yeah, Bob Shepard. Yeah, one of the goats.
Number 2.
Cody, this was fucking awesome. I knew it was going to be. I told you it was going to be. Yeah, this was great. It's long overdue. I know, like we've had multiple discussions about you coming on just to talk baseball. But I was like, we can't do that unless we tell your story first.
Thank you.
But now that, your story has been shared with our audience, I know that they're going to want more from you. So we can definitely make that happen later on. I'm sure. I mean, I'll see you now that you're in the division. I'll probably see you a bunch this year, which would be fun.
I'll be waiting for that dinner that you're going to take me out in.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. Let's do it. We'll do it. We'll take you to a nice little steakhouse in Boston, and
and then the next day he's going to Ponce out 16 Red Sox.
Tell Durant, take it easy on me this year, okay? I don't need none of those homers. I'll take his little quick singles that are base hit up the middle. Don't turn them into doubles.
He'll turn them into triples real
Jared,
quick.
If you hit a double off me that's supposed to be a single, you owe me $1,000. That's what I'm going to say. Because I played with them in the fall league, and I was like, Jared, you're not allowed to do that to me. We're both California boys. It's not allowed to happen.
Yeah, he don't care though. He's a killer. He has no soul.
I love him. He's
the best. He's the best. Cody Ponce, new member of the Toronto Blue Jays. Thank you for making the time. Congratulations on your success, and thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, boys. It was a pleasure to be on here. Like you said, it's a long overdue. And yeah, I'll be seeing you guys here shortly soon.
Yeah, it won't be the last time. Can promise you that.
Not at all.